Told you I'd be back. Hey everybody, I am here to do my December wrap-up. I know it's kind of really late, but I've had absolutely no time to do it. If I have time, I will also put a January TBR, or what I'm currently reading at the moment. I don't know if I'll do an actual TBR, but I will show you what I'm reading right now. Anyways, let's get on to the wrap-up. The first book that I read in December is Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rosh, and I really enjoyed this. It was really a nice little quick read in between some of the heavier adult fantasy I had been reading. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It's an interesting take where it involves the seasons. It follows a female protagonist by the name of Mayra, I think is how I pronounce it. And she is a Wintarian. The Kingdom of Spring, I believe, took over the Kingdom of Winter when she was just a baby. So she has kind of lived her entire life up to this point as a refugee, going in between the other countries, autumn and summer. And it's kind of her story into helping get her kingdom put back the way it was. The ending was really good. I kind of predicted it, but still really enjoyable, and I really like this cover, so 4 out of 5 stars. In December, the BookTube Manga Club was reading The Heroic Legend of Arslan by Yoshiki Tanaka and Hiromu Arakawa. This is an amazing historical fiction manga series. I'm not sure if it's gonna go into fantasy elements because I'm not too familiar with the original novel series that it's based off of, but as far as I know, it's not going in that direction. It's just historical fiction. Really awesome story about a young boy named Arslan whose kingdom gets taken over by another one, and he's kind of on the run for now, and kind of like Snow Like Ashes, it's his journey into gathering allies to get his kingdom back. As you all know, I've been reading the Codex Alara series, and in December I finished 2 volumes. I read Volume 4 and Volume 5, both by Jim Butcher, and this series, I gave Volume 4 5 out of 5 stars. It is probably my favorite volume out of the entire series. Such an amazing character growth for Tavi, our main character. He goes through a lot of good character development in this particular volume, and that is why it's so freaking amazing. Like, I cannot believe I have been letting this series sit on my shelf unread for so long, because it's probably my #1 series I read in 2014, and I'm not even done with it, but like all of the books that I read in 2014 were super amazing. I did read book 5, and I have to say it was not as good as book 4, because book 4 was so amazing, but I did really enjoy it. It was still super good. It had a lot more military war scenes in it, and that could have been what made me not like it as much, because although I have no problem with the military realism in this story, there's a lot of battle scenes that I think sometimes go on a little bit too long, and that's the only negative that I can say about this series in general. Other than that, amazing. Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah, go read it. I have nothing else to say except to go pick up this series because it's amazing. I then picked up and read volumes 1 through 4 of Parasite by Hitoshi Iwaki, and I cannot say or stress enough how much I'm loving this series. There's only 8 volumes out, so it's pretty short, and I'm already more than halfway because this month I've read another volume. Amazing story about parasites trying to take over the world. They're not really trying to take over, it's hard to explain. But parasites come and they take over people's bodies, and they eat people when they're taken over, and they turn into like crazy, like weird looking monster things. Oh yeah, here we go. Bam! Pretty scary, huh? So yeah, as you can tell, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Amazing manga series. And if you have not seen my top 5 manga that I read in 2014, this was #1. So go watch it, go check out the other manga that I recommended, but do definitely pick this one up. I also read this next one immediately after getting it, and that is Volume 4 of Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. At the end of this volume, does anybody else agree with me that the last page of this volume was such a big cliffhanger? Why? What? I have no words. 5 out of 5. I was really, like, angry through half of this book because the characters go through some, like, really difficult relationship times, and I was really pissed off because I thought something was gonna happen, and stuff did happen, and it was crazy, and I was sad, and then angry, and then surprised, and then so confused by the end of this, so I need to read the next one. And then the last volume that I finished and completed in December was Gathering Darkness by Morgan Rhodes. This is the third book in the Fallen Kingdoms series. Such a good series. It is a YA fantasy and really hard to explain, but it's another one of those stories that's about a girl who is a princess in a time of war with other countries, and it's her struggles, and I don't really want to explain any more because that might give away stuff in the first book if you haven't read it, but this third installment was the best. The best. This series just keeps getting better and better with each volume. It's also another one of the multiple POVs where she is the main character, but you do also read about 2 other POVs as well. It is YA, so there's a love interest triangle thing going on. You see the POV of her name's Cleo, and then you also see Magnus's point of view and also Jonas's, and I think that's it. I'm not sure. I think you see some other side characters sometimes, but those are the 3 main ones that you normally see. Very well written YA fantasy. If you haven't picked this up, this is definitely a good, like, if you want to read more in-depth fantasy, but you're not quite ready for adult fantasy, but some of the other YA fantasies not quite where you want it to be, read this one because it's good. It's really good. As far as what I'm currently reading, I am in the middle of reading The First Lord's Fury by Jim Butcher. This is the 6th and final book in the Codex Alara series, and then I will be done. I am about 287 pages, almost halfway. This is much thicker than some of the other volumes, but it reads pretty fast, so I'm okay with it. Again, the military realism in here is very real and can be boring at times, but my feelings towards this series are still, it's amazing, and I need to know what happens to the characters. The next book I am most likely going to be picking up is one that I purchased so long ago, and I read the first book in this trilogy and never picked up the rest, so I plan on getting to this series, and that is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 2nd book in the Mistborn trilogy. I do need to finish this as soon as I'm done with the Codex Alara. This will be read right after that, so yes, cannot wait to get to this one. I completely forgot this other book that I read in December, and that is The Demon King by Cinda Williams Chima. This is the first book in the 7 Realms series. Yes, there's 4 books to it. So I read this, and I've already started book 2, which is The Exiled Queen, and I am reading this along with my friend in our little work-related book club, so we've actually managed to get 2 other people in our book club, although one of them's not as active in reading it with us as the other, but I don't really care. As long as I get to read it and discuss it with other people, I'm happy, so however many people I can do it with is enough. This is a YA fantasy series, really, really awesome. It did take me a couple chapters in the first one to really get into it, but once I got probably like 4 chapters in, I discovered the amazingness of this series, and the ending is just, oh, it was so good. Oh my gosh. And I'm loving it, and I cannot wait to start this. Like I said, I haven't started it yet, but I plan on doing it probably today because we are having a book discussion on this in 2 days. So that was my December wrap-up. What did you guys all read in December? Let me know in comments down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!